Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Let the outside world fade for a moment. Huh? What if I told you, right now, you already are the millionaire you desire to be? This is not wishful thinking. This is truth in its purest form. You do not wait for wealth to come. You awaken to the realization that it already exists within you. You act, you walk, you think, you feel as if you are already that which you seek to become. When you act as a millionaire, you're not pretending. You are stepping into the version of yourself that has always been there, waiting to be acknowledged. The world reflects not what you want, but what you are conscious of being. Look around you. The clothes, the home, the job, none of these define your wealth. They are remnants of old beliefs. If you hold to the idea that wealth is coming someday, you push it away into the distance. But if you embrace it now, speak from it now, feel it now, you bring it into form. The secret is not hustle. It is not luck. It is identity. Your inner identity creates outer reality. If you identify as rich in consciousness, life must obey. Ask yourself, how would a millionaire carry themselves today? What would they think about? How would they respond to challenges? Now begin to be that. Every time you react as if you lack, you delay the manifestation. Every time you respond with faith, gratitude, and abundance, even before the outer proof appears, you accelerate it. You are not here to beg the universe. You are here to declare who you are. Wealth is not something you attract. It is something you express from within. You don't need more evidence. You don't need permission. You only need the courage to live from the end, to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled again and again until the outer world bends to match it. The shift is internal. The results are inevitable. So begin now, not tomorrow. Now, as you drink your coffee, walk down the street, speak to others. Let the inner millionaire rise and lead. Let every action be an expression of your inner wealth. You are not faking it. You are aligning with truth. And as you do, life will transform around you so silently, so smoothly, so naturally that you will marvel at how easily it came. Because it was always you. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see, touch, taste, smell, and hear in the outer world is a reflection of what you accept as true within your inner world. It's not the job, the money, the relationship, or the circumstance that creates your experience. It is your consciousness of being that produces and sustains all phenomena in your life. The moment you change your self-concept, your outer world must shift accordingly. You are not a passive observer in this life. You are the operant power. You do not simply react to what is happening. You are the cause of what happens. Every condition, whether joyful or painful, is rooted in the state of consciousness you dwell in. When you understand this, you stop trying to manipulate the outer world and begin the true work, shifting your awareness from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, from hoping to knowing. The world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting what you believe about yourself and about life. If you accept that you are poor, unloved, or limited, then life will echo those beliefs. But if you dare to accept that you are already abundant, deeply loved, and divinely supported, then your experience must rearrange itself to match. It is not arrogance to assume these truths. It is alignment. What you focus on with conviction becomes your world. The images you accept in your imagination, the feelings you nurture, and the identities you claim, they shape the mold from which your physical reality is poured. Even if nothing has changed in the 3D, even if it seems like nothing is happening, a shift in consciousness is a shift in destiny. The unseen comes before the seen. The invisible causes the visible. To live consciously is to take responsibility for your state, moment by moment. It is to know that your assumptions matter more than circumstances. that your inner conversations are setting the tone of your life, and that you are always one decision away from stepping into a new version of yourself. Feeling is the secret because it is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the unseen and the seen. Your world does not respond to your words or your wishes. It responds to the vibration you emit through your feelings. Whatever you feel as true becomes the law of your life, regardless of appearances. You may affirm something 1,000 times, but if your dominant feeling contradicts it, the feeling will always win. It is through feeling that you claim a new reality. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you bring that state into the now. You stop waiting and start being. You impress your subconscious, not with logic, but with emotion. Deep, vivid, and sustained. The subconscious accepts whatever is felt as real, whether it is visible in the 3D world or not. This is why daydreaming with emotion is so powerful. When you lose yourself in the inner experience of already having what you desire, your body responds, your energy shifts, and the universe moves. Feeling brings imagination to life. Without feeling, imagination is flat and powerless. With feeling, it becomes the seed of manifestation. To feel rich while lacking. To feel loved while alone. To feel successful before the evidence. This is the great secret. You're not deceiving yourself when you feel ahead of reality. You are planting the future in the soil of the present. Feelings do not lie. They reveal the state you live in, and that state determines your outcomes. The world will always echo back the feeling you've most consistently embodied. So when you close your eyes and sink into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, understand that you are doing the highest work of creation. You are speaking to the creative forces of the universe in the language they understand. Not words, but emotion. Not struggle, but certainty. You are writing your reality in the script of feeling. Imagination creates reality because it is the foundation of all experience. Everything that now exists in your world, every object, every relationship, every condition was first imagined. Before it became visible, it lived in someone's mind as an idea, a vision, a scene felt to be real. The outer world is simply the echo of your inner vision. You do not observe life, you project it. You do not wait for change, you imagine it, and it must be. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is the most powerful force you possess. When used deliberately and with feeling, it becomes the womb of creation. To imagine a scene in vivid detail and feel it as though it were happening now is to set a cause into motion that must bring about a corresponding effect in the physical world. What you entertain in your imagination with faith and persistence becomes your living reality. You can test this for yourself. Take a moment, any moment, and imagine something different than what your senses are showing you. Imagine walking into the home you desire, seeing your name on the contract, smelling the air, hearing the echoes in the rooms. Make it real within, so real you can feel your emotions respond. You are not fantasizing, you are creating. You are stepping into the state of already having, and the world cannot help but reflect that state. The imagination is not limited by time or space. You can collapse the future into the present by dwelling in the end, by revisiting and reliving your ideal as though it were here. When you persist in that assumption, when you make that imagined state your dwelling place, life reshapes itself around your vision. What you imagine with conviction and emotional involvement becomes inevitable. The subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts what is impressed upon it through repeated thought and feeling. This is why it is said that you are always creating, whether you know it or not. The question is not if you are imagining, but what you are imagining, and whether you are doing so deliberately or by default. You do not need to convince the outer world to change. You need only to convince yourself that it already has in your imagination. What you imagine persistently becomes your truth. The inner scene, once accepted, compels reality to conform to it. This is the law. This is the power. Assume the state of the millionaire by stepping into the feeling of already being the version of yourself who has everything you desire. Do not wait for the bank balance to change, the opportunity to arrive, or the outer proof to appear. Begin now internally to occupy that state. You assume the state not by forcing action, but by moving in consciousness, by feeling, thinking, and acting as though your wealth is already a fact. The state of being a millionaire is not just about money. It's about identity. How does a millionaire think? How does a millionaire feel upon waking in the morning? What do they expect? How do they respond to challenges? Begin to internalize these answers, not as fantasy, but as your present reality. You are not becoming rich. You are remembering that you already are in consciousness. When you embody that state, life begins to shape itself around your new self-concept. Your speech changes. Your posture changes. Your decisions come from confidence rather than fear, from vision rather than desperation. You stop chasing and start allowing, because you understand that wealth is not something you acquire from the outside. It flows from within. This assumption must be natural, not strained. It is not about pretending or playing a role. It is about claiming your rightful state with ease and certainty. You sit in that feeling. You make it familiar. You rehearse it in your mind until it becomes your new default. The more you live in it internally, the more the outer world rearranges to reflect it. Assuming the state means you no longer ask when it will happen. You know that it already has. You feel it so deeply, so consistently, that the outer world has no choice but to mirror it back to you. You speak from the state, not about it. You make decisions that align with wealth. You release fear, doubt, and striving, because they do not belong to your chosen identity. You become selective of your thoughts and feelings, because you know that what you entertain must become form. You walk through life as if the world is catching up to what you have already declared as true within. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with truth. The truth that your imagination, infused with feeling, is the source of all reality. The law responds to certainty, not to wishful thinking, not to begging, and not to hoping. It is your inner conviction, your unwavering belief in the reality of your desire, that activates the unseen forces and sets the wheels of manifestation in motion. When you are certain, the law obeys. When you move as one who knows, the world conforms. Certainty is not loud or desperate. It is still and powerful. It does not seek validation from the outer world. It does not chase signs or beg for confirmation. It rests in the invisible, with full faith that the end is already secure. Certainty sees no distance between desire and fulfillment. It collapses time and brings the future into the present through feeling. You cannot trick the law with half belief. It mirrors the vibration you hold as dominant. If you are doubting, hesitating, or contradicting your inner claim with fear, then that uncertainty is echoed back to you. But the moment you become inwardly immovable, the moment you fully assume the state of already having, life begins to organize itself around your assumption. The law responds not to what you say, but to what you accept as true deep within. This is why someone who calmly assumes success, despite every contrary condition, will rise beyond logic. It is not luck, it is law. The law is no respecter of persons. It respects only the state you inhabit, and certainty is the marker of one who has fully entered the state. This inner certainty must be practiced, protected, and fed. You build it by turning your attention away from appearances and returning again and again to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You refuse to argue with the senses. You stop rehearsing lack. You affirm your inner reality with such emotional conviction that outer circumstances begin to lose their power. Certainty does not require evidence. It becomes the evidence. When you are certain you already feel the gratitude, the relief, the joy of having received, that energy draws the outcome toward you as surely as the sun rises. It is not the force of action, but the power of assumption that bends reality, And the stronger your inner knowing, the faster the outer reflects it. Ignore the evidence of the senses, for they only reflect past assumptions, old states of being that have already run their course. What you see, hear, and experience right now is not the truth of who you are becoming. It is the echo of who you were. If you judge your desire by what your senses currently show, you trap yourself in a cycle of repetition. But when you look beyond appearances and stay loyal to the unseen reality you've claimed within, you rise above limitation. The senses are bound by time, by what has already manifested. They are late. They report the results of past thinking, not the seeds you are planting now. If you wait for things to change before you believe, you will wait forever. But if you choose to believe before seeing, if you dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when nothing seems to be happening, you are aligning with the creative power that shapes your world. Hearing the senses doesn't mean denying what is there. It means not giving it authority over your inner world. You can acknowledge the facts without accepting them as final. You understand they are just temporary scenes in a play, and you are the author writing the next act. The real power lies not in reacting to what's outside, but in sustaining the inner vision, despite what appears. This is where faith is proven, not when everything looks perfect, but when you can hold the feeling of your desire as real in the face of contradiction. The outer world will challenge you, tempt you to give up your assumption and return to old states. But if you remain unmoved, if you keep choosing your inner reality over the outer illusion, you shift timelines. You step into the world your imagination has built. To ignore the senses is to walk by vision, not by sight. It is to recognize that you are always creating from within, and what you assume now will soon become your new reflection. You no longer wait for circumstances to permit your dream. You permit it yourself. Through inner conviction, the senses may lag, but they must catch up. Reality is compelled to mirror the dominant state you occupy, not the conditions you passively observe. Gratitude before the manifestation is the evidence of true faith. It is the state of consciousness that declares, I have already received, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Gratitude, when felt sincerely in advance, is not an empty ritual or polite gesture. It is a powerful signal to the subconscious mind that the desire is real, present, and fulfilled. It is the emotional signature of having, not wanting. When you express gratitude before the evidence appears, you are aligning yourself with the energy of the wish fulfilled. You are moving out of lack and into abundance, out of waiting and into receiving. You are telling the universe through your feeling that there is nothing more to chase, nothing more to earn, because it is already yours. This inner state sets the tone for what must follow in the outer. Gratitude does not beg or plead. It does not look around anxiously for signs. It rests. It knows. It celebrates what is yet unseen with the same joy and confidence as if it were already in hand. This is not a trick or technique. It is a way of being. When you feel gratitude from the end, you collapse the illusion of time. You bring the future into the now, and your reality begins to shift to match your emotional frequency. This is why gratitude is so transformational. It is a creative force. It tells the subconscious that the goal is accomplished, and the subconscious, accepting that message without resistance, begins to move all things to bring it into form. The people, the opportunities, the ideas, the resources, they all start appearing because your inner world has made space for them. It doesn't matter what your senses show. You can be standing in the middle of a storm and still give thanks for the sunshine because you know it already exists within you. You are not being naive. You are being powerful. Gratitude is not denial of what is, but a declaration of what is becoming. You are choosing to tune into a new frequency, and your life must follow suit. When you live in a constant state of inner thanksgiving, you are no longer trying to create from effort. You are creating from alignment. You are no longer reacting to life. You are initiating it. Gratitude before the manifestation is proof that you trust the unseen more than the seen. And that kind of trust is the foundation of every miracle. Mental rehearsal daily is the act of stepping into your desired reality with purpose and repetition. It is the sacred practice of revisiting, reliving, and reaffirming the life you choose to experience, not once, but over and over again until it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. You are not visualizing as a hopeful wish. You are rehearsing your truth. Each day, when you engage in mental rehearsal, you are training your mind and body to accept a new version of yourself. You are building new neural pathways, shifting your emotional baseline, and aligning with the identity that matches your desire. You see through the eyes of the person you wish to become. You walk in their confidence, you breathe in their peace, you feel their certainty. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. This is not effort, it is embodiment. It is not about forcing a change from the outside, but allowing the change to rise from within. As you mentally rehearse, your subconscious begins to blur the lines between what is imagined and what is real. It accepts the inner scene as fact and starts instructing your body, your actions, and even your environment to reflect that scene outwardly. Repetition is the key, not mechanical repetition, but alive, an emotionally charged replaying of your ideal scene. You return to the end result daily. You feel it, taste it, touch it with your mind. You anchor it into your being. This is how you become the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire. By practicing that state until it dominates your awareness. Every day you do this, you weaken the grip of the old story and strengthen the new identity. The doubts begin to fade. The fear loses its power. You no longer question when or how, because you've already lived it so many times in your mind that it feels inevitable. The outer world begins to yield not because you pushed harder, but because you became inwardly convinced. Mental rehearsal is not a luxury. It is a necessity for transformation. It keeps your focus on the desired state and makes it more familiar than your current reality. What is familiar becomes normal, and what becomes normal becomes your life. The more you rehearse it, the more effortlessly you begin to act in alignment with it. Your choices, your language, your energy all begin to express the new version of you. Detach from the how, because the method of manifestation is never your responsibility. It is the work of the unseen, the subconscious, the deeper intelligence that responds only to states of being. When you focus on how your desire will come to pass, you step out of the end and back into uncertainty. You interrupt the flow by trying to control what was never yours to manage. Creation begins and ends in the imagination. Once you have clearly assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, felt it, accepted it, embodied it, your role is done. The moment you wonder about how it will unfold, you are questioning the reality of what you've already claimed. You do not dig up a seed to check its progress. You water it, you trust it, and you allow it to grow in its own time and way. The how belongs to the bridge of incidents, the chain of events that leads from where you are to where you desire to be. But this bridge is often invisible until you've crossed it. It unfolds naturally, effortlessly, through people, circumstances, and ideas you could not have predicted. It moves according to a higher intelligence that sees far beyond your conscious mind. To detach from the how is to trust that once the end is accepted, the means will take care of themselves. You are not responsible for figuring it out. You are only responsible for living in the end. When you remain loyal to the feeling of already having, the right actions arise without strain. The doors open. The timing aligns. The resources appear, not because you chase them, but because you align with them. This detachment is not passive. It is powerful. It says, I know what is mine, and I no longer need to control the path to it. It frees you from the mental strain of trying to force outcomes. It allows you to stay calm, grounded, and receptive. The more you release your grip on the how, the more quickly and naturally your desire takes form. And when you detach, You also stop judging the process. Delays don't shake you. Unfamiliar turns don't alarm you. You understand that everything is part of the unfolding, even the things that don't make sense yet. You walk forward with inner conviction, not because you see every step, but because you trust where the path leads. And in that trust, the how takes care of itself. You already are that which you desire to be. The moment a desire arises within you, it is not showing you something far away. It is revealing a version of yourself that already exists in consciousness. You are not striving to become something new. You are awakening to who you truly are beneath the surface of current appearances. The desire is simply a call to remember your fullness, your potential, your true identity. Everything you wish to be is already within you. It is not about acquiring something external, but about removing the veil that says you are not yet it. The outer world may try to convince you otherwise, but your inner world knows the truth. There is no distance between you and your desire, except the illusion of separation you've accepted. When you shift your awareness and occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, you step into the version of yourself that has always been there, waiting to be claimed. This is not imagination in the sense of make-believe. It is revelation. When you say, I am, you are not hoping or pretending. You are creating. You are choosing an identity, and all of life rearranges to reflect that choice. It doesn't matter what you were yesterday. The moment you assume a new state, the past begins to lose its grip, and the future begins to reshape itself. You already are that, because consciousness is the only reality, and the state you dwell in determines what you express. The world responds not to your outer efforts, but to your inner position. When you say, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am successful, and feel it to be true, you are not lying. You are aligning. You are recognizing a deeper truth that cannot be proven by the senses, but must first be accepted in feeling. The journey is not about acquiring worthiness. It's about accepting it. It's about realizing that what you desire is not outside of you, but arises from the truth of your being. You are not moving toward your dream. You are returning to it, returning to the version of yourself that already lives it, feels it. When you rest in the knowing that you already are that, fear dissolves, doubt fades. You stop seeking and start being, and in that being, everything else follows. The mirror of life reflects not your effort, but your identity, and your identity is shaped by what you dare to claim now. And so remember this truth. Everything begins and ends within you. You are not waiting on the world is waiting on you. The moment you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you change your state, and as your state changes, so does your life. You don't need to struggle, force, or chase. You need only to be. Be the one who already has it. Walk as if it's done. Feel from the end. Live from the end. And the end will manifest itself before your eyes. The law is perfect. It does not fail. It reflects you faithfully, not in some distant future, but in the eternal now. So act as if you're a millionaire now. Think as if it's already yours. Love, trust, and imagine as if the universe has already said yes, because it has. Thank you for choosing to listen. Thank you for choosing to believe. And thank you for daring to become. Your world is changing because you are.